Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Diverse Narratives. My name is Abdimalik Malim, and I'll be your host for this episode. This episode is special to me because it features a childhood friend of mine with incredible story, and I'm so glad that he finally agreed to sit down and share his story. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He was born in Somalia, but due to the civil war, him and his parents had to flee the country to Kenya and ended up spending the first 16 years of his life in different refugee camps within Kenya. And we lived in of those refugee camps together, and that's how we met and got to know each other. And somehow we ended up reuniting with each other here in Maine. Currently, this individual works as a cultural broker in the health field. And the thing that makes his story incredible is the things that he was able to accomplish, even though he has a disability that some people would see it as limitation, but somehow this individual was able to turn that into his strength. Growing up with him, he was always doing whatever that we do. He was always there doing with us. He was always there doing whatever we did. There was nothing that we did that he could not do. We riding bikes, he was there riding bikes with us. Playing sports, he was there playing sports with us. Going to school, he was there going to school with us. There was nothing that this individual was not able to do. And that is just the tip of the things that this individual has accomplished. And I cannot wait for you all to finally be able to hear his story. And that individual, that childhood friend of mine, his name is Issa Aden. This is one of those times that you can opt out.
No, it's
okay? Because how long have you been disabled?
Okay, I have been disabled for all my life. So I don't have any memory of it, of having it. So I always grow up with it. My mom told me it happened when I was a year, or even less than that. So I always use a cane to walk around, but disabled is a strong word people use.
Yes.
I call myself able. Because I can ride a bicycle and I can drive, I can get around well, and I can exercise. So
that is something that I will endorse you for it, because growing up with you, and you were literally doing everything that we do.
Yeah,
so that's just amazing.
I was always motivated, and also and making sure my kid years get the best out of it, because I was challenging people with their both legs running around, and I was always one who was helping them behind them. So it was really great thing, and I am really not glad this happened, but I am happy that the way I am, because this didn't happen later in life. So I grew up with this, and Allah made me this way, and I am content with it, and I feel special about it. So it is really a good question, but I refuse to have polio pull me down through what I can accomplish.
No, wallahi, that's one of the things that, wallahi, I still remember literally when we lived back in Kenya, even now when we came here to the US, our early time here in the US, you were literally going everywhere with us. You were doing everything that we were doing, and that's something that it's inspirational, wallahi. Nowadays, people that are way less able or whatever use that to bring themselves down and stuff, instead of saying, no, I can do this. And you're a huge inspiration in that.
One of the records that I set up that I'm very proud of, I went from Lewiston to Farmington on a bike.
No joke,
yeah.
How come I didn't know about this? Incredible.
So
wow.
like a normal bike. It doesn't have to be, like a disabled or, or like any equipment. So I don't use much of my right leg. I use my left leg, and when I try to drive, it's like I cross my legs and I drive that way. So, and I'm glad that my car has a cruise control. So, like on the
That's
highways that I
awesome.
use it, but like, you know, there's always a positive things can happen with a negative that
Hmm.
people associate. So, like, I'm always like like looking positive stuff, like what is being negative. Like if I tell myself that I am this and I am that and I cannot do this, and so like I try to stay away from can't, because like I always try to do like how can I do it, and instead of like I can't do it. Like
Hmm.
one of and books that I read about that Robert Kiyosaki is, once you say can't do it, your brain shuts down, like, and you will not have a way to do it. But like when you say how can I do it,
Hmm.
so your brain opens up and then gives you an options. So I always say like how can I do it instead of I can't do it.
That's incredible. Wallahi, that's true. And again, I'm one of those people that can attest to that. And that's incredible. And
Thank you.
what we're still within the Kenya era.
Yeah.
What was your what was your first like cultural shock when you moved from Ifo, Kenya to Kakuma, Kenya, and seeing the Turkana people and the environment being kind of different than in Ifo? How was that for you? Do you remember? Do you recall?
Yes, I do remember like it
You
was
can
yesterday.
adjust this.
I do remember like it was yesterday because, and it was back in 2008, 2006 when we came here. So it was 2004, 2003, 2004. So when we came to Kakuma, it was a different, you know, environment, like a weather-wise. So the one thing that we were really culture shocked was, how dusty it could get and how hot it could get, and there's a lot of lakes you had to go through, and it was a dry place, and the native people who left there before us, they're called Turkanas,
Hmm.
and the one word that I still remember from them is ajakana,
What does that mean?
which means like how are you, and I'm good. So I
Interesting.
remember that, and mama nyau like means come here. So
Yes.
like I have a good remember, like a good memory of it, like, and that is the time when cell phones start happening, and we didn't get cell phones because like it was expensive and new things, but like our neighbors, if they had ones that we can borrow to call our friends back in and
If
Ifo.
or
So it's still within Kenya place, but like, and the bus rides, it is more than 24 hours. So
hmm.
it was a long journey coming there.
Yes, yes. Uh, how long did you guys end up staying in Kakuma before you were processed and was moved to what do you call Nairobi? Because everybody stopped at Nairobi, right? So how
Yes.
long did you guys stay in in Kakuma, and then how long did you guys end up staying in Nairobi, Kenya, before you came to the U.S.?
And we stayed there for 4 years, 4.5 years. And at that time, I was neighbor with you, and then a lot of other people that I can still remember these days. So, and then we stayed in Nairobi, Kenya for a month and a half or 2 months, because like there was a problem with our case and how they process it. Usually, Kenya, like when you come from Kakuma to Nairobi, it is just a stop to like an check up a stop, and then you leave, and then you come to America. But we had to stay there for 2 months, and then after
Hmm.
that we came to United States.
What state within the U.S. did you guys end up landing? Or
So when we first came, it's like we came from like and from Nairobi and to somewhere else. I don't recall it. I
Mhm.
don't remember it. And but like, and the airport was JFK. Like, and coming to from Kakuma, like basically living in a hot place, and like, and really not having electricity, and to come into like a place where so many lights and people
Yes.
and different people. Everyone is rushing. I don't know where they're going. So
Yes.
like it was very different, and it was and then we settled in Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut, if I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
So and so
What?
you know where you're coming from, drought, and then you are on the New York bridge, and then with a lot of water you see it, so like you feel so free. And I remember as a I was 18 years old when I was coming here. I even to this day, it's like when I go to a plane or a car ride, it's like I like to be on next to a window, so like I can look,
See the view
see the
and
view and stuff. So like seeing the views and the skyscrapers, and with different noises, and different neighbors, and different food, and different everything. And then here comes the boom. It was a winter time, so
what would you say was the biggest culture shock you had
that
coming
is the
from Kakuma
problem.
and to this?
That the winter, because coming from like a place where it's really dry and hot. And I remember as 18 or like 19 years old, like going like and even feeling the snow, and even like eating it, and like my mom telling me that's not ice cream. So
Interesting.
it was really,
Huh.
really and a good experience. And coming here, and not having much, like you just had to back like $2 each, and then we didn't even have that much. So like when we come here,
Mm-hmm.
so the organization already prepared our beds and where we stay and our food and everything. So it was all set up for us, but like we didn't know how to use the stove. We didn't know how to use the TV that was in the room, like everything. Like I remember one of my siblings, like when we turned off the vacuum, screamed her ears out,
Oh
thinking
no.
like it was gonna swallow or something, and like eat her or something.
Oh my
Because
god.
when we stay away from it, because we don't even know what to do with this. We plug it in, some kid plug it in, and then it makes a noise because it was supposed to clean, but
You had no idea how
we
to
had
use
no
it or what it
idea.
was
So
for.
we had to learn basically from like a zero to where we are today.
Interesting. One other thing that I want to talk to you about is, did you end up going to school in Connecticut, or how long did you guys stay in Connecticut?
So we stayed in Connecticut for 5 months, like 3 or 4, 5, somewhere there. And we moved to Lewiston, Maine. We didn't go to school there, and we didn't go anywhere at all. So
What year
yeah.
did you guys come to the US?
And when we come there, what I mean, we didn't go anywhere. I mean, that means we don't know the neighbor's language.
Mhm.
I spoke a little bit of English, but not enough to interpret for my family. And we didn't know where to shop. We didn't know anywhere. Like, and then we reached out to like people who settled here before us, family and friend members, that we came here. We came here, so like we had to reach out to them, and then they help us move from where we are to
Mhm.
here.
Did you guys were you guys not connected with a caseworker when you were in Connecticut?
We were connected with the caseworker, but like the caseworker was usually like there for once a week or something like that, so it wasn't really
Helpful.
helpful. And when we come here, so like we seen a lot of Somali people, and we seen 2 mosques here, and the Somali stores, and so like we felt like we can settle here, and that's why we gathered all here to Lewiston. Like, well, that's basically we felt home when we came to Lewiston, Maine.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Somali culture, and I would say more of like the Islamic culture, because I think our lives are more governed by our religion, and then our culture is that we are more of a communal. Uh, we are more of a communal people. Like you said, it was pretty much the same for us. My dad and them lived here before us, so as soon as uh, they heard that we landed in Atlanta, Georgia, they rented a minivan and just came and got us here.
Yeah.
So basically the same for you. So you started in what grade when you came to Maine here?
So I remember Lewiston High School going there. So I didn't because of my age. So I just started 11th grade
Hmm.
and then 12th grade. So I didn't graduate from Lawson High School, but like I mentioned, that doesn't stop me.
Mm-hmm.
So I look into a different programs and where I can, further my education, at least, to have my high school diploma done. So there was a program called Job Corps, and that
Mm.
still exists today. So and I had to go and further north to Maine, and so I went to Limestone, Maine, to get my high school diploma and also to become a medical and assistant. So and I graduated there with honors, and with
MashaAllah.
yeah,
Congrats. That's
Alhamdulillah.
awesome.
So I continued from there.
Did you, with the job court, uh, did you end up having to drive back and forth every day, or is it a program that you stay there and live there while you work on your
It's a
high school
program
diploma?
there that is 2 years long. So you don't go back and forward. You stay there. They will give you shelter, food, and education, and basically for free. So it is,
Wow.
and owned by the government. And a lot of people don't know when they dropped out of high school and then they think that's the end of it, and then or people get their GED, if they're motivated to go forward with their education career and later on so they can have good, and well educated, and make sure that you leave example by your kids.
No, that's incredible that you share that, because I know so many other guys that aged out of the high school, and they did not end up going for those type of programs. They ended up just working and just going on with their lives.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's the other thing, again, that's the thing about you, is the drive to want to better yourself and not limit yourself. Because you could have easily said, okay, they're saying that I can't get my high school diploma because I aged out. Okay, that's
Sure.
it. What can I do now?
Mm.
Instead of just letting that stop you, you went ahead and looked for other opportunities. That's very inspiring.
Thank you.
And what is the thing that keeps you going? Because again, if anyone could or should have an excuse not to do things, you would be one. But you're not. You're not letting that. So what's the thing that keeps pushing you forward?
And growing up, I have a strong mom, which I really love, and everybody love their mother. But
Mhm.
I have a special woman who is behind me, always making sure that I have a good education, and making sure that I have nothing wrong with me, and making sure that whenever I go and tell myself to stop, to keep going. And I have a good dad as well, and that he's still back in Ifo where I grew up, and so I had to provide for them and send them money back for them to have a better life than what we did. So when you have people depending on you and you are depending on them, so you tend to like to jump through to jump or to duck through any obstacle that comes out of your on your way.
Interesting. No, that's very inspirational, and just hearing you say that is just incredible. When you moved to Maine and you ended up going to the job corps to get your high school diploma, around what age were you? Do you recall around what age you were?
So that I was in my 20s. So like I said, I came here when I was 18 years old, and high school doesn't start when you're 18. It usually starts when you're 16 or something like that.
Yes.
So that's why when you're 21, you need to that's the tap out. So
Mhm.
you cannot be running around with the kids with with a grown man. So still when you're 18, you consider adults, but when you're so much older than the other kids, it's not fair to the school or and to be around with children when you're trying to learn, and
Mhm.
that's why they call it age out. So their limit was 21. So I remember that I was 21 and then
Interesting.
they kicked me out.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So you said you went to the job court and you mentioned that you had to provide for your family. What was your first job, or what were you doing to be able to provide for your family at that time?
So at that time when I went to job corps and then I came back, so like I get my first job as an entrepreneur
Mm-hmm.
because and when I'm also and administrative certified. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even go to that route because I wanted to use my language skill and help within the community and stay within the community and earn a living. So like and doing that is like and killing a bird with one stone or like something like
Kill
that.
two birds with one
One
stone.
stone, yeah.
Yes.
So like you already like and you love what you do, and you're getting paid for it. So, and then at that time, so you can help out your family here and then your family back home. So like and with people who grew up here, they tend to like the teenager or like the people who were born here, they tend to think themselves a lot. Not all of them, but like they're not dependent their uncle, their auntie, their dad or their mom or like and so like when you saw what we saw and then come here, so you have that mentality to help out and to reach out to
Yes.
to help and the people in need.
No, that you bring up a really good point. Because a lot of the teenagers that are raised here or were born here, they're growing up in a culture that is more of like individualized, like it's all about me. I have to
Yes.
provide for myself and stuff. But you came from more of collective like culture where you think of other people before yourself.
True.
That is incredible. I wanted to for us to talk about a little bit about when we first came to the U.S. and here in Maine. Do you recall, like, was there any good memories of us hanging out on the bike rides and stuff like that? How was that time in your life like for you? Because for me, it was one of the most incredible times, and I still miss that. And I would love for you to share your thoughts and whatever you can remember of during that time of our lives.
So it was a blast, like, and I still remember, like, and we go for a bike ride. Usually we do that in the summertime because, and we had those, small cameras. Today we have like
Yes.
this digital DSLR cameras, and we didn't have that, but we were always taking pictures and going to lakes, and then like in nature, and going to the soccer field and. It was really exciting time and having get to know people and stuff and with I still have those memories because like and I set up an Google Drive where it's secure, like and like so I can save my pictures and all that,
W- So that's another thing that I
and I
wanted
can
to.
share it with you like sometimes if you're still interested to see them.
I am. We will. We'll definitely check that out. Are you enjoying this episode from Diverse Narratives? Well, if you are, please take a second to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Diverse Narratives. Thank you for your support. And now let's get back to this awesome episode. So, you mentioned another thing that I wanted us to talk about is your interest in photography and videography. And I think you're more into photography than
Yeah.
video. I'm the one that is into both. But what got you into that? What got you into doing photography?
So is it like a hobby of mine? I still do it to this day. So like I just wanna have a good memory of like and at the saving the moment, like I call.
Mhm.
So what I know is like I didn't go to school for it, but like these days with technology and with YouTube and with Google and with like researches, you can basically learn anything that you wanted to be interested in without going to school for it. Like
Facts.
yourself, like and
No,
like,
I did
yeah.
not go to school.
You did
Uh,
not go to school and you
yes.
still have all this equipment and a microphone and with this all that because YouTube is a good source, like, and also it could be a dangerous source as well. Sometimes when you listen to music and doing some haram and like and all that, like, still it's a sword like with the two edges.
Yes.
So like I basically teach myself how to use Lightroom and take good photos and I do it as a hobby. I don't do it as professional like and I'm thinking like and someday, but like someday.
I could always use a second hand. So if you're ever
Alright.
interested,
Nice.
I would love to have you as part of the team
Good.
for that. But no, that's interesting. We're gonna change gears again.
No
Uh,
problem.
at what point did you get the opportunity to go back to Kenya?
So, like I mentioned already, my dad is back in Ethel, and so before even going back, is there's a process. When you come to the United States, first you have to stay here for 5 years to come to get your citizenship. So I am honored and I am happy to have to be a United States citizenship. Like I have an U.S. passport, so like I can travel around.
Mm-hmm.
And the opportunity here is limitless because you can do so much thing with that.
Mm.
Like when you look at where I lived for 16 years in the refugee camp, I didn't have a passport. I didn't, like they didn't give me an passport to become a Kenyan. So like coming here and be a part of like the whole United States, so it was an honor. So like once I get that paper first, and then I get my passport, and my dad like he's still back home, and I was like yes. So now like I can travel. I will save enough money to get my ticket and to go visit my dad. And my plan was to visit my dad and book the flight for 3 months. And the flight is like $900, like and from Maine to, to Nairobi. So it was very exciting. And then and we were away from each other for like 8 and some years.
Wow.
So like it was a long time since and before I could go back. So it was emotional, and we met in Nairobi, Kenya, and it was very
Mashallah.
excited. So and he welcomed me, and he had his own agenda and surprise for me.
That's
So,
exciting.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. You also brought up another good point that I wanted to say, that you mentioned that we've lived in Kenya for so long, and we were not given the Kenyan citizenship, which is true.
Yeah.
A lot of us lived there as refugees. So
Yeah, to this day they live there like 30 plus years, and they are not citizen. So
yeah, no. Again, that just highlights how appreciative we as people that come from places like that, how to get this citizenship here and be able to travel and literally do anything someone that was born here can do except to become a president.
yeah.
Can you just imagine like that, and having lived in Kenya for so long and not being able to even become a citizen, forget about being able to do all the other stuff. That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's going to get juicy, okay?
No problem.
Because if you feel comfortable, at what point did you get the idea or the process of getting married back in Kenya? And what was the drive for you to do that? Or if you can just talk about what got you interested in doing that, and also the experience and the process. I can imagine it must have been an interesting process. So I would love if you could share that.
Yeah, so it is an interesting topic, and yes, I am.
Again, share wherever you feel
Yeah,
comfortable.
Of
Okay.
course, I do feel comfortable with that, because, like I mentioned, like when I went to see my dad, he has a gender, and so this is one of the surprise things that he will prepare for me before even I get there. So, and when I was going back there, so like I was in my late 20s, 28, 29. So even more than that, less than that, but in within the 20s years old. So our religion and and our families, they are really and known for arranged marriage.
Yes, that's a common thing. And
So-
also one thing, sorry,
Go ahead.
keep that thought. One thing I can only imagine some of our American viewers thinking 20s, that's you still young.
It was too late
What's
to be married, so that was in their eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is, back in Kenya, like overall over there, kids mature early.
Yeah.
Unlike here, where the kid is like, someone is in their 30s or whatever, and they still act like a kid. They're not as mature. Over there, you get mature quick because of the environment that you're in. So, sorry, I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, arranged marriage. So I'm still gonna talk about that, but
Mm-hmm.
the point that you're making is like I feel comfortable sharing this. My
Mm-hmm.
mom got married when she was 14 years old, and
Incredible.
it was an arranged marriage. So
Mm-hmm.
like my whole family, they got married through arranged marriage, and coming to United States and living in this culture, and the reason we get married early, and it is because as Westerns, we don't do girlfriend and boyfriends, and that's not the halal way. So like if you want to complete your like half of your deen, so like you would first have to be married. So
Mm-hmm.
we believe in that, and we believe in Allah, and so
Yes.
that itself says that like that's the reason why the youngers get married earlier and not worried about or like financing and all that, because Allah is the provider of all things. And then like once you're married, so like doors will open obviously
Mm-hmm.
with Allah's blessings. So always keeping that in. So when and I went to my dad, and then it's like I know you're still like you're too old now and
In
you
his
still
eyes,
didn't
yes.
marry.
Yeah.
So like we gonna change that. So
Mm-hmm.
like and I have a nice lady for you,
Mm-hmm.
a nice girl for you, so you're gonna marry. It's like dad, like I came here to visit you, not to be
Get
married.
so you
like,
didn't even know that was gonna happen.
I
You
didn't
just
even know that
surprise,
was
you're
gonna
getting
happen.
married.
Surprised you're getting married.
Interesting.
I sort of had like, and I don't want to say girlfriend because like that is not how we
Mm-hmm.
thought about it. But like there was a girl in my head already within the United States that
Interesting.
that I had feelings for her and wanted to marry her, and you know, always go to their houses and then try to be within the family. And so when I went there, he's like, all that is going to change because you're going to marry. And as Muslims and
Mm-hmm.
people in faith, we always respect our parents, their decision. You know, they can never be wrong. That's what what I believe in. Like
Mm-hmm.
your parents. So
That must have been a tough decision for you
it
to
was a
make.
tough decision. So and it was one of the best decisions that I made. So
Share more if you
so,
feel comfortable.
no
Please, I'm
problem.
intrigued.
So, and then when you are there and you come in from United States, you're
Mhm.
highly valued there.
MashaAllah.
So that means like this person, he's not a refugee. He can provide. He can, you know, like and
Take care of the whole
take your
family,
daughter
basically.
to United States to have a better life. So, and and also I wanted
Mhm.
to, you know, make sure the spouse that I'm gonna marry agrees with me despite what my dad and what their parents and think. So this is what happened. He
Mhm.
brought me a girl, and
Mhm.
he said like, "This is the girl you're gonna marry." I was
Mhm.
like, "Okay, Dad, I do respect your decision, and I feel inspired. Like I need to talk to this lady by myself since I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with her."
Mhm.
And then they gave us a privacy, and then her name is Asley. She's my
MashaAllah.
wife. She's here
MashaAllah.
now in the United States.
Wow.
So the promise that I made, that in Allah's name, that like I made that, I fulfilled that promise because I tell her that if you agree to marry, I will take you to United States.
Mhm.
And so
Wow. So
when
you
she
said
was sitting in front of me, and I was like, okay, so this is what is happening. And I speak the language, she speaks the language.
Mhm.
My dad wants you to marry you. No, my dad
wants me to marry you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, and your mom and your parents and all, they're agreeing. But like, what do you say in this? Are you in a relationship? You have a feeling for someone else? Like,
Mhm.
what do you think? Because I do not want to force you to be married. Because
Mm.
at that age, so like she was 18 years old and I
Mhm.
was in my late 20s.
Mhm.
So I can understand the pressure that this could come, but like that is the norm there. So there's a pressure there, but like still they understand because that's the culture and how they think and how they grow up. So I said, if you agree to marry me, I promise you that one day
Mm-hmm.
that you will live in the United States with me,
Mm-hmm.
and inshallah,
Mm-hmm.
with Allah's help, and we will have a better life than this, and I promise to take care of you. And she says like, okay, if my parents want you to marry you, and I agree, and then I gave the dad the green light. I was like, yes, she finally agreed, and I want to marry this lady, and if she's okay, and she was okay with it.
So she had the she had the she had the opportunity to either say yes or no. It was not forced on her.
Yes.
That's okay. That's interesting. So how did the wedding happen? How was the wedding like in Kenya?
So the wedding is like, and we kill a camel. So it was like a big wedding.
Uh-huh.
So and we made a lot of du'as, and you know, we had a normal wedding, and we get to know each other after we married. So and now we have 4 kids, alhamdulillah.
What
So
what was the process like bringing her here?
so the process was like, and it was a long process. So my eldest today is 8 years old, and
Mashallah.
yeah, she came to United States in 2020, so
To
2020, I
Mhm.
think. Yes, 2020, because I had to take a picture with her that proof that we are in a relationship.
I'm very interested in hearing all this because I know of so many people that are married back in Kenya. And I think we were talking about this off camera when you got here. I know of very little, not that many people that managed to have their spouse come to the U.S. Some of them literally, let's just be honest and say, don't want their wives, the person that they married there here, but a lot of them do want it, and I don't see that many people doing that. And I always wondered why a lot of guys going back to get married. And everyone's situation is different, but I never got the opportunity to actually sit down and talk to them about what made them want to get married and the whole process. So for you to be able to feel comfortable to share this with me is very intriguing, and I'm very interested. And I really, really appreciate you sharing this because I'm sure I'm not the only one that is curious about it and what the process was and all that stuff. So I appreciate you.
No problem. So the process is a long process. So first, like, you would have to have a proof of the wedding that happened, and you literally went there because, and when people get all those documents, I would have to get her birth certificate, a marriage certificate, and a picture, like a passport size picture of her. And since like I'm like myself, I call myself well educated, like self educated, and I had to do a lot of research before, like, starting that process. So I went to USCIS and the United States Immigration websites, and making sure like all the documents, all the checklists I had in my checklist.
Wow.
So like, and the things that I need in order for me to file and the petition for her to come here in the United States. So we didn't have a problem proving all that because that literally happened, and I gathered all my information. A lot of people, even the process is so complicated and so confusing. A lot of people get lawyers to do all the works for them.
And you
Like,
did it by yourself.
and I didn't hire any lawyers.
Wow.
So like, and I am
That's
one of the things that I am really proud of it, and so I do my research and get all my documents and then send to the USCIS, and then boom, everything. Like, since I have enough evidence that happened, like, and how long I stayed there, where we stayed, and like I also good with photos. So like I took a lot of pictures when I was there. So with them, so.
you had no problem
I
proving
had
it.
no problem proving it. So my case was like really approved like immediately, and from there the
Incredible.
process is really long and tedious. So, like the U.S. is once they approve it, they send it to like a national visa center, like and to our different government agencies, and then now you have to resubmit everything again. So I submitted.
Wow.
So uh, they would have to have an X-ray done. Like they have to come to Nairobi, where she resigned was like IFO refugee camp. So I had to bring her from there to Nairobi to get her and medical stuff done, making sure all her vaccination were done, and in the process of that, so I went back there, and then the good thing is like on my first trip we got pregnant, so it
Incredible.
was really amazing. And then now we were having this process, and then we had a newborn. So and then
That just added to the evidence. Like, we
added
are
to the
married.
evidence, yeah.
Yes, incredible.
So, and my kid, I didn't even have to file that because I always do my research. I didn't go through USCIS, so like I went straight to the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi, Kenya. So I was like, and then I was like, this is my wife. I already have a case pending, and this is my kid, and my kid, he is U.S. citizen because I am a U.S. citizen through me. So he is qualified to have his passport. So he got his passport when he was in Kenya, within
Wow.
2 weeks.
Ma-
And people were like, it's like you didn't even
Mash.
go. The process was like, mashallah. So it was really amazing. And then we left in Nairobi. When we were in Nairobi, we were traveling and to Mombasa to like and safari. So like and
Giving him the experience of
giving
like,
him the
that's
experience of, like,
incredible.
living in Kenya, and they never visited those because they didn't have enough documents, or like they didn't have a passport or to travel
Within Kenya.
within Kenya. So like, and I came back. So like I went back there 3 times before she came here. So that's how long the process was, and we were always
That's
keeping in
incredible.
communication.
Mhm.
And when she came here, so we had 3 more babies.
Incredible.
So,
No,
alhamdulillah. So it was all that come from arranged marriage because your parents know best, and they say like you're not gonna marry the girl, you're gonna marry their family because she came from like a good family and well respected, and she's already like a respectful person and loving. So and I am too. So it was really a match that was made within 3 days of knowing her, and like
that is
and now
incredible.
we are married for like 9 years today.
Mashallah.
So our oldest is 8 because like I said, like we got pregnant on my first trip there. So and
Everything
a lot
worked
of
out.
people, they just went there and get married and came back and not knowing the process that stops them, like for them to bring them here. And the other thing is, and I'm gonna say this because we are broadcasting, and everyone's opinion is
Matters, and it's just to
matters.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are
No,
married
say what's
there
in your
because-
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are married there when they have a wife here. So that thing, like, and then bringing them, having the 2 wives here, that's a no-no for the U.S. government because they don't believe in marrying more than one
Polygamy.
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is, even like the youngest who get married there, they don't know the process, and even the lawyer, if they have a lawyer, the lawyer cannot do your forms all for you. He tells you to provide certain documents, and if you don't know where to get it, so that stops them. So what they end up is going back and forward and having a kids and never bringing the wives here. So like when you when you make a promise, no matter how long it takes, like you have to fulfill it. And one of the promises that I made is that I would bring you to United States.
And you fulfilled it.
And I fulfilled it. And I am proud today she is a U.S. citizen herself. So
That
she
is,
became a U.S. citizen just this and December last year.
mashallah.
So she was here 3 years, and then again, help out
Within
from
3 years, she got
yeah.
her citizen.
Yes, like
Wow.
when you come here as a refugee, you would have to stay here for 5 years. But like if someone sponsored you to come here, like a spouse, like a husband and a wife, 3 years. So she got her citizenship, and she has a permit to drive, and she drives my car sometimes.
That's
We
incredible.
drive together. So you
That's
know,
incredible.
when Allah is on your side and you make a decisions and you make a promises and it's true to your heart, Allah will make it easier for that promise to be fulfilled.
That is incredible. No, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And again, literally every story that you share, everything that you've done is just very inspiring, because like you said, there are a lot of young ones that are getting married over there, but they're not willing to put in the time, the effort, everything that's required for them to be able to bring their spouse here.
Yeah.
And then you also got other ones that have wives here, and then they go back to get married there. They're not able to bring their wives here because, again, the law here just doesn't allow it.
And also their plan was to begin with not to bring them here. So
Yeah.
and it is really hard because like as a young person, you're gonna need your spouse, whether you're a male or a female, especially in the young ages. So like, and if you're not gonna be committing to a relationship where you can provide and to stay with your spouse, do not get into those sort of relationship where one is not satisfied, and
That's true.
it's not just financially you need it. You're gonna need like a husband and wife needs each other. You're not gonna just be away for like a year, 2 year, and go back there, and then without having a plan. You guys need to stay and live together.
That's incredible. No, I really, really appreciate you sharing that. So, what are some of your goals for? Because your dad still lives there. Is there any plans for you to try to bring him here, or what are some of your future plans for that, or if there's any plan in place or whatever, if you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, I feel comfortable sharing because my dad, he is 70+ years old. He's an elderly person, and he's still to this day married to my mom. So,
Mashallah.
so they've been married for
A long time. Yes.
So my mom tried to bring him here because once she is sponsored, spouse is always comes first than child, and bringing their dad here. If the and I know all this because like I read about it and I know, and if the child or like the father or like under age of 18, they consider it like an person that is in need, that they're gonna move the process really fast.
Oh,
But
fast.
like
Okay.
if the person is an elderly and then they're trying to sponsor their dad, so that takes a long time. It is better
Interesting.
for my mom to bring him here, and then after she filled out all the paperwork and he decided to like, United States, you guys are providing me here, so he has another wife there and the kids already settled.
Oh, okay. So
he said, I'm all set. Like, I'll just go to my masajid and you guys send them.
part of me is happy for him because
Yes.
I feel like,
And my mom went a couple of times back there, so they're still keeping in touch.
Mashallah.
And so
that's incredible.
And,
No, that's incredible. That's incredible. I really, really, in a way, I kind of get inspired by hearing everything that you shared with us. Again, it's hard to find nowadays people who are willing to put in the time and the effort and keeping their promise. That's a huge thing that is nowadays. Not that many people are taking the promise that they make to people. What do you call keeping their promise and stuff. So you have 4 kids now.
yes.
Could you
Muhammad, Rijal. Rijal means a man. So, like, a lot of people's like, why? I was like, because he's the man.
He's the man.
And
Okay.
Fatima and Abu Bakr.
Interesting.
So,
Could you share some of the some of the difficulties you had to you had so far faced raising kids here and keeping them on the culture and teaching, making sure that they're learning their language, not growing up just speaking English, because that's a huge issue right now with young parents raising their kids here, is the language and just the culture. How are you dealing with that briefly?
Okay, yes. So, and my kids, they all speak my language, my.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and when they try to speak to me in English, I'm like, no, we are already in a country where it's English is spoken. You can speak with your friends and at school, but like when you're at the house,
Mm-hmm.
you have to speak in your
Mashallah.
native language.
Mm-hmm.
So they speak the language they understand, and their mom doesn't speak that much of English, so they always speak in my. And on the Friday prayers, so like I take my son to the masajid,
Mm-hmm.
and even he wakes up for like an fajr. So like sometimes
Incredible.
he wakes me up to pray. So like, and I wake him up to pray. So like,
Mashallah.
and even though we are in a culture where people, always focused on other stuff, like I wanna give them like a multicultural,
Mm-hmm.
to have the United States culture and our deen and in Islamic, and we'll make sure that like at home, like they know their alphabet and their Fatiha to recite in Arabic, and making sure that they pray. Even the youngest ones, like when I pray, I was like, okay, I want to pray too, because
Mashallah.
I always want to lead by the examples, and then I don't say them no, because we all line up and then we pray. The kids, but
Yes.
still, that's part of teaching them how to be, and appreciative for what they have. And my eldest, like if I give him some money, it's like I want to donate something to the masajid. He always does that because he sees me doing that. So like that's why I always give away and money. If he sees a homeless person and he has $1 or $2, he gives one away. So doing all that later on, your kid's gonna help you in the future as well.
No, that's incredible. That's truly incredible, because a lot of nowadays people, when it comes to teaching little kids, they think just telling them to do the right thing is enough. I can relate to the prayer thing. I experienced the same thing with my kids. Like when they see you praying, they literally want to pray with you and stuff. But imagine you as the parent, you're not praying, you're not basically being a good role model. How can you expect your kids to follow things if you yourself are not doing it? And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people, young parents, end up having issues with their kids later on, is because they haven't built that relationship, or they haven't taught the kids or shown the kids how to live according to their religion, according to their culture and all that stuff. So for you to be able to do that is very, very inspiring, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you joining me today and being able to share all that. I think I see sometime in the future catching up with you like this and going into more detail a lot of the things that we spoke about. Thank you.
And I appreciate you being here.
Yes, no, thank you so much. And I
That makes
really,
sense.
really appreciate you being able to share all those things and feel comfortable sharing it. We hope you enjoyed this episode from Diverse Narratives. If you did, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel at Diverse-Narratives, and let us know in the comments section what was the takeaway for you from this episode. We would love to hear from you. With that being said, we'll see you all in the next episode.